Hello, everyone. Today, on the Fireside Chat, we are going to discuss 6 questions that should be addressed fairly early
in
in
a relationship.
a relationship, a conversation, an almost relationship. You're not
In dating, I would
early
say
on.
in dating.
Yes,
Yeah,
before you've gotten to the marriage
into
part,
the relationship.
before you've walked across the aisle,
Or even
and
into
said,
a
"I do."
serious relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of the stuff we've seen online goes wrong when the topic is gendered. The reason I say this is it's not a boy-girl thing. There's a lot of relationships out there that are boy-girl, girl-boy, boy-boy, girl-girl, boy-girl, non-binary,
Go, go.
pansexual, whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different relationships out there. To gender it would be incorrect. And some fungi have 700 genders. Imagine the mess that is. Anyway, not here, nor there.
I don't believe that in humans, but.
Yeah. But the point is, it is incorrect to gender this conversation. It's not relevant.
Because it's either way.
2 people get together,
Yeah.
you're going to have to deal with these topics. Period. So, what are the roles you expect to be played amongst you and this potential partner? That's a really important topic because a lot of people are old school. I like to come home to dinner, laundry done, dishes done, house clean. That doesn't necessarily work in today's world.
Is that number one for you?
Well, for me, no. I grew up washing the dishes. I really hate dishes now, but that's more of a skin problem. Anyway, that's my excuse. But I don't mind laundry. I don't see any specific roles in the house, but I know a certain person enjoys cleaning, so I like to stand back and let the person do the cleaning. I participate as often as I can, or see. I like it to be shared.
So,
But if a certain person enjoys it, I'm not necessarily going to get in the way of that.
So do you think that a role in a relationship should be discussed as one of the earlier things?
It should
Earlier
be.
questions that should be asked before you get into a relationship with someone
I do.
asking what are the different roles that you can play.
Because this is where the conflict comes in. If I have decided something in my head as to what my partner should be doing, without having a conversation about it, conflict arises. So I come home and something's not done, or my partner comes home and something's not done. What did you do? Why didn't you do? It's a source of conflict.
Yeah, but don't you think that also makes things be like you have these set rules in stone that this is what you have to do and this is what I have to do. So if I don't do my part, then it
killing
becomes a little
spontaneity.
bit complicated. Do you think?
It's killing the spontaneity. No, no. It's not about getting it set in stone, because certain things have to happen, regardless
Yeah.
of someone being there or not.
Yeah.
It's more a matter of understanding what someone expects ahead of time, so that you can manage those expectations and say that I don't do that, or I like to do that, but I like to do it with someone. I don't like to do it alone. There's a relationship that I heard about on NPR. It was one of those money programs, and this guy really, really, really hated doing dishes, and they had a household where both incomes were shared, so this made no sense from a practical perspective. The money was a household income, but the wife paid the husband $50 a week to do the dishes. It made him feel good, and the dishes were done, and there were no arguments. But it was one of those things they had to negotiate, they had to figure it out. It's just kind of a funny thing. And I don't think roles is exclusively about household chores per se. But that's the topic that comes up most often, I think, when people think about roles, especially from the 50s. And I think even Donald Trump has said, oh, I like coming home and things are done. He's very old school in that regard. But just the idea, there are roles that people need to fulfill to make a relationship work.
And this, when we're talking about these roles,
They tie into the other things
is
too.
it a financial role? Is it a household
Ding,
chore?
ding, ding,
Like
ding.
what kind of roles? Because there are different roles
Yes.
in relationship.
And there's also roles in the boudoir. Like
Explain
top, bottom,
yourself.
dom, submissive.
Yeah.
So it is kind of important to discuss these. I don't want to beat this horse to death. We can even do a whole program. just
So
by
do you
roles.
think before a couple get into, so here's what I think. I think that before a couple get in, before two people who are dating each other get into saying I do, or committing to each other like on a serious level, these are the things that you need to talk about. You need to talk about the roles, to set clear expectations for each other.
And help manage those expectations.
Yeah, and help manage those expectations. Yep. And that also help you to see if this person's expectation of the kind of role that they think their partner should take is something that you are comfortable with. And if you're not comfortable with that, then
go somewhere else. And that's a really easy
then
thing.
move on.
Yeah.
It does really help you to sort out things that you don't need to be dealing with. Because if this person thinks that is this person, for example, if you have a very traditional man who think the woman is the one who is supposed to cook and clean and do the things for the kids and everything else, and he just
well, we even saw it in my parents' neighborhood, right? The guy sitting on the porch, the women were doing the yard work.
Yeah.
He was just sitting back texting on his phone. There was no finger being lifted.
So if you meet this person who thinks that he wants to operate in those traditional values, and you don't feel comfortable. I mean, there's some women who are very happy being put, like, taking care of the house, doing
stay-home dads are a thing these days.
Without any help. There's some people who are very comfortable with that. But if you don't feel like that's something you would want to do, then you shouldn't deceive yourself.
It is a very easy thing. People tell you.
Yeah.
Listen when people tell you who they are the first time you hear it. Isn't that Oprah? I think that was Oprah.
Yeah. So it just clears the way for you to move forward and look into something else.
Well, that was just one of 6.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, number
Pet
2.
peeves, deal breakers. I call them DQs, not Dairy Queen, disqualifiers. Something from my track and swim days. So, what are the things that you see and you're like, I'm out?
For me personally, when I was dating, I don't like people who don't keep their words. So you tell me one thing and you do the other. So, for example, we are supposed to have a date today.
A friend date.
Yeah, so I'm just giving you an example of when I was dating. So if I set up a date with someone for tomorrow, and then this person doesn't communicate, doesn't tell me what's going on, and then I go there, or maybe on my way there, then it's sorry, I can't make it, and I have all the things that I could have done, and I thought that everything is good, and you stood me up. I don't like that's a deal breaker.
Yeah, that is a big one.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that if you can't make it to something, you should it's okay to not be able to make it, but you should communicate earlier enough to give the other person time to adjust their plans and do something else, because it's just simple respect my time. I will respect your time. So if you're not even respecting, if you're not doing, like, I call that the basic. That's like the
basic
minimum.
rudimentary respect.
That's the basic.
The bare minimum.
Yeah, the bare minimum of respect. If you can't respect me enough to tell me ahead of time that, hey, the thing that we're supposed to do tomorrow, I can't make it, or at least 2 hours in advance.
Right.
Like, say, the thing that we're supposed to do, I can't make it, and I'm sorry. That's okay, right? But also, if you do it enough time, if we set up another date and again, the same thing, then I'm just not going to think that you're a serious person, and I wouldn't want to deal with you.
A pet peeve for me would be being told to do the thing I'm doing. If I'm already doing it and you're telling me how to do it, it bothers me. That's a thing. That happens often. But I don't know how to expand upon that.
Yeah,
necessarily.
but would you ask?
But it's hard to sort of like, what are pet peeves?
Yeah.
Man, they're so unique to each person.
Yeah.
I think the one we just discussed, being tardy, being late, not showing up, big deal. I
Yeah.
think we should just stop with
Yeah,
that one.
and when you brought up being late, even if the person shows up for the appointment, but you're like 45,
Oh.
30 minutes, 1 hour late, and you don't even communicate ahead of time to tell me, oh, I'm running late.
Oh, I've
you
experienced
you
this
just
a
don't
lot.
show up. you just show up at your own time. We set up appointment for 2 o'clock. You show up at 3 or 2:45 or 2:30. Who do you think you are? I have to just sit there wait. No, sir, I am not doing that.
All right. Views on marriage. This is not a gender thing. This is an important thing. And this is why it's not a gender thing. Okay. So,
So that's number 3.
this is number 3. Views on marriage. If someone is in it for a fun time, not a long time, kind of want to know that up front. But a lot of people won't even necessarily be honest with that. A lot of people don't even know what they want. They think they want something, but their body is literally allergic to it. Attachment style is something very powerful, and not everyone's aware of it. I have a buddy who's been on the market for a while now, and he keeps running into women that want a deep emotional connection. This is why it's not a gender thing. Women that want it, they say they want a deep emotional connection. They want that thing. They want that everlasting love. But the moment my buddy is the slightest bit romantic to them, they're like, whoa, I need space. I need space. You're coming on too strong. But they're the ones saying they wanted it. And it has more to do with attachment style. He is a little bit anxious, preoccupied. He is attracted to women that are unemotionally unavailable, which is a typical thing that people associate with men. But it's not that. It's attachment style. They are not emotionally available. The second anything comes upon their emotional space, their body reacts with, there's an attack on my autonomy. I need to get out. And he dated this one woman for a while, where he'd have one date with her. It would be wonderful, sparks would fly. He wouldn't hear from her for 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Because she was so overwhelmed with the emotional encroachment that she needed that much space to even come to grips with. The way I explain it is this. Have you ever had a big gulp of water and it hurts all the way down? Emotional attention is like a big gulp of water. It hurts all the way down, and it seems to take forever to go all the way down. She needed that much time for the emotions to go all the way down and for her to process it. She wasn't capable of this thing she said she wanted. She wasn't in a place to receive that.
I have a question about that though. Like, do you think that he was love bombing her? That's why she was feeling that way? Because the big gulp of water is because
Yes.
it's like a lot at once, right? So
Love bombing is
you're
a
like,
thing, but
whoa, I need time for this to go down.
this
right?
person was so dismissive avoidant that any little thing was seen as love bombing, even though it wasn't.
So how would your friend be able to differentiate if this woman is marriage minded or she's just...
I feel like this is another video.
Yeah, I know, but also like on the same thing though, because it looks like they talked about this, and
Right.
these women do let him know that this is what they want. They're actually looking for a relationship.
Right.
But when your friend come in so strong, they tend to back off because he is it. So I'm rambling, but I guess my question is your friend love bombing these women that they feel like it's too much? Because
We'll
too
talk
much
about that
of
in another
anything
video.
can also be scary.
For some people,
So I want marriage.
perception is reality,
Yeah.
right?
So I want marriage, but if you're coming on too strong, then I don't know what your problem is.
So, I was in a scenario where I told the woman that I was seeing on the first date, "You're what I want." And she said, I like knowing that. And our situation was one, there was a little bit of commitment phobia in there, and there was this artificial deadline of created. All right, I don't want to leave you on the hook. Thank you for giving me that space to make a decision. I will let you know by June where I stand. And we continued to date. Things went so well that come February, the person said, screw June. I'm good, let's do it now. We got married in May, and it's still going strong. But the point is, even with commitment phobia and someone who tells the person what they want up front, and it can be really triggering, it can be really, there's a lot of work that needs to be done where people need to listen to their bodies and say, okay, this is the right choice or not. It has more to do with attachment style. But it's also important to know that if the person you're talking to sees marriage as a possibility.
Yes.
And if they don't.
Yes, that's important.
So we got into the weeds a little
Yeah.
bit. We kind of lost
Yeah.
sight of the topic. But the important thing is to know whether or not the person even sees marriage as a possibility.
Yeah, I think that's very.
That was
very,
the key.
Yeah, that's very important.
Okay.
Yeah.
Number 4, views on communication. Again, this is where the attachment style is more important than anything else. Someone might think they're very good at communicating, but then they're in that situation, they're not good at communicating, but they still think they're doing great.
So how would you go about asking your partner or the person that you're considering to be your long-term partner how you view communication or how you would like to communicate?
Ask the question,
Yeah, so.
listen to the answer,
Yeah.
but then watch. Because I was seeing this one young lady. We were texting back and forth quite a bit, and I had a really busy day at work, and I wasn't able to text for like 5 minutes. And I got a text saying, if you found someone else, just let me know. I was like, what? What do you mean? So some people want communication all the time, all the time, all the time. And that just isn't possible with the rhythms and flows of life. But then it's also, all right, you've got something going. There's also a certain sense of, I need to breathe, pay attention to my own body, realize, hey, unless this person tells me otherwise, I have no reason to assume they're no longer interested. So I need to see, okay, they're busy, I'll find out later.
Yeah.
And then get back to me. But you also, there's a certain, you need to get used to a cadence, and sometimes it comes, sometimes it flows, sometimes it stops, sometimes it comes back. Communication's tricky. And even when you're in a situation where it's very good communication,
it still can be
two people
difficult.
could be completely in different worlds. Same things are happening. Like one night I said, I have to do something. My partner goes upstairs with me. I'm doing the thing. And my partner is trying on dresses and looking all cute. And here I am looking at her like, oh, she's wearing dresses, so I like it. It's very nice. But I'm doing the thing. The thing is important. And it come to find out later, she was trying to seduce me to like pay more attention to her. And I thought I was being a good partner by saying how good she looked in those dresses. It was a completely different... Same things were happening. I thought I was doing great. She thought I was failing. And it's funny, even when communication is good, it still needs to be ironed out.
Yeah. So before you get into a serious relationship with someone, so what I'm hearing that you should probably understand how you communicate.
Yes,
you
how
should
I
understand
communicate.
yourself first, and knowing how you communicate, so that together you can manage the expectations of communication between each
Managing
other.
expectations is the key here for most of these.
Yeah, you know, like, yeah. So you
I prefer texting versus voice.
Yes.
Some people can't text.
Yeah.
Or they're a completely different person in text
Yeah.
than in person. I've had experienced that where they're like, who's this funny person I've been talking to all week when I'm with them? And it has to do with shyness too, and introvert versus extrovert. There's a lot of reasons communication, So voice versus text is an important part of that conversation. In person versus.
Does it matter though? Like
It does.
how you communicate, like
It does.
like voice, text, or whatever.
Because without communication, that scenario where I thought I was doing good and that scenario where she thought I was failing, if we didn't have that communication, we wouldn't have recovered from that.
Yeah.
That would have been a deal breaker. That would have ended the world for me. And this is not something I want
Do
to
you
ever
think
end.
when you're still dating, so some women they want you to be talking to them maybe every day or every
Right.
So is it okay for a woman to say, or for a man to say, I like to be talked to every day. I personally like my person to talk to me at least every day.
Yeah.
Like at least every day.
Yeah.
And if you're not going to be talking to me because of something, maybe you're busy, I need to know that ahead of time. I need to know that, hey,
If it can be anticipated
tomorrow
preemptive.
I might have a very busy day.
Right.
So give me a heads up. For me, that's my expectations. I expect my person to at least try and reach out to me every day. At least check on me. At least tell me about what's going on with you. At least in a serious situation. I'm not saying when you just started dating someone, because some people they've only gone on one date with this person and now you expect them to, start texting you and calling you. No. Like where things are good and you know where you stand with this person, I expect them to talk to me every day.
And if your person that you're thinking about dating says, I don't really like to do the stuff that you want.
Yeah.
With the scenario with the 5 minutes went by and she's thinking I was on to someone else.
Yeah.
I told her what you want isn't inherently wrong. It's just not something I can do.
Yeah. So then
So we walked away.
you can both walk away because this one everyone's feelings are preserved, right?
That would have worn me out.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been able to do it. I couldn't keep up with it.
Yeah.
And someone can. There's someone who's anxious enough to keep up.
Someone
with that.
is exactly. So it just opens up, like I said before. It just helps you move forward or move on with someone else who can do the things that you want them to do, because ultimately everyone wants to be happy and fulfilled in their relationship. You don't want to be with someone who will not give you what you want.
And then this is the other thing again. Some people don't know, so they'll say one thing,
and then
but then you watch, and then you see it, and you realize, okay, got it.
Yeah.
Message received. Move on. Or okay, great. This is what I was hoping for.
Yeah.
Either way, lifestyle. This is important. I tried to date a woman that liked to climb at the rock climbing gym. That was harmless by itself. But she also liked to go into caves and stuff. And all I could think is, man, I don't like caves. They freak me out. So it was a very incompatible thing. It would have been a lot of us spending time away from each other. She goes on hikes and stuff. So that way it was, like, that would have been fine. But the rock climbing and I'm not part of that rock climbing life.
But is that
Lifestyle is important. It's just one example.
Yeah, but is that a problem though if your partner? Because I feel like
I don't mind time away.
Maybe that goes back to communication, because if your lifestyle does not really, like, what interests you, or like the things that you choose to do for your hobbies are not the things that I want to do. Like,
right.
If you want to go in some cave
I don't expect her to paint action figures. I don't.
You want to go in some cave somewhere, and I'm not interested in that kind of thing.
It's okay to have separate activities.
Exactly. Maybe you can do that with your friends, and I can do the things that I enjoy that you don't like with my friends or by myself, and
there's more to
that give us time to do our own things.
Right.
Because
we're not talking about doing separate activities.
Yeah.
We're talking lifestyle. That was just one example.
Yeah.
That is not a lifestyle I could work with. It wasn't compatible. But there's some people who like really expensive wine and restaurants. Oh, I don't really make enough money for that. So that's not really a lifestyle I could keep up with. I might like it for a while because it's nice to visit, but it's not a sustainable path. So that's more the lifestyle thing. I like someone that is open to going hiking and playing in the garden and getting a little dirty without being all dirt under my fingernails, kind of. I like someone that can be a little bit rough and tumble, but that can also stay at home every once in a while. Doesn't want to go out all the time. I also like someone that likes to shop a little bit, but not shop all the time. It's that's what we're talking about when we talk lifestyle. It's easy to get
caught up in
the specific
Yeah,
example.
yeah,
It's not
sure.
about that.
okay.
Separate activities are good, but we're talking lifestyle, as in
In
how do you
general.
see how you live your day to day. Some people are homebodies all the time. That doesn't work for everyone. Some people like to go out clubbing every night. That doesn't work. That I go to bed early. I'm an old man even before I'm old. Lifestyle is kind of an important thing.
Yep. What was that? Was that number 6?
6 is children.
Oh yeah.
You want to know what you're getting into.
Yep.
Uh,
Yeah, children is a big thing. Some people want to have kids, some people don't want to have kids. I mean, I'm African, so in African setting,
that's an excuse.
yeah, I know, but when a woman like me who is African, I don't even think children is a question to ask in a
Right.
relationship because I just I was brought up to think that every marriage, the ultimate goal is every relationship. The ultimate goal is to have
People.
children,
Yeah.
right? So if you're successfully married without kids, is almost like
You're an
You're-
alien
yeah,
from
you're-
Mars.
yeah,
Why
you're-
are you here?
so I
What is your purpose?
yeah, but in the modern dating world, in the Western culture, a lot of people get into relationships when they're not really interested in kids. So you have to know for sure.
I had a cousin.
If you're
got a divorce.
interested,
She wanted, he didn't.
yeah. So
They-
you
They talked about it ahead of time. They stood their ground. She thought she was going to change his mind. He thought he was going to change her mind.
Yeah.
Ultimately, they had to call
yeah,
it quits.
that's a very big mistake.
There's
to
no
make.
changing of minds.
No. If they don't want kids, they don't want kids. And especially if they do tell you that they may not be changing their minds. Because the first thing that the person tells you is always the truth, right? It's their truth. They've thought about it. By the time they say it to you, they've been thinking about it. So you want to take that quite seriously.
It's important.
So if you're going into a relationship with someone who thinks they're not sure they want to have kids, the word "sure" shouldn't be in your vocabulary, especially with something as important as
Yeah,
that.
because you don't want to bring more people into
Yeah.
the world and introduce them into misery. If you're not sure, don't do it.
Yeah, if you're not sure, if the person is not sure, and you're banking on them maybe changing their minds because you think that you're so awesome that you can make them change, people don't really change. People can.
In that way.
Yeah, in that way it's hard.
There's ways to change.
Yeah, sometimes people might change, but going into the relationship, serious relationship, getting married with this person that they're not sure they want to have kids, with you just having the expectation that they change for you, that is unfair to you and it's unfair to them as well. So I think you should know ahead of time if you want to have kids or not. If not, move on to someone who is interested in kids. If you want to have kids.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to have kids, to avoid headache in the future, just find someone who is not interested in kids. And
Step.
yeah, that will be easier. Yep.
Yeah. We are going to discuss cheating, what people consider cheating, but it's such a big topic that we're going to have a whole separate video on that.
Yeah.
But these are the 6 areas that you should really be talking about if you even want to consider moving forward with a person. The roles they see, things getting done around, pet peeves, deal breakers. Pretty important to know what those are.
Yeah.
What are your views on marriage?
Whether you
Communication.
Yeah, communication, whether you ever
Again,
want to have kids. or not.
listen, hear the answer, and watch. Because people will tell you what
And
they
with
are.
communication, though, I still want to go back on that a little bit. And I feel like there's something that we skipped. I was thinking about it earlier. Communication with each other and sometimes communicating when you have problems.
Yeah, that's key.
If you fail to communicate and now you have
Communicating
this situation
needs.
that you need to handle, how do you communicate? I think it's important to put that into perspective.
Oh
as
man,
well.
communicating.
Yeah. When you're feeling a certain way with this person, with your person, do you?
I'm feeling triggered.
Yeah.
I need to tell that person.
Do you need how do you communicate? Do you need space? Do you need time to reflect? Do you need time for yourself before you can talk to this person? Because people have different ways of resolving issues. Sometimes when some people, when they feel,
This is a separate video too.
yeah, some people when they feel triggered, they just want to lash it out right away. And some people, they really can't talk. I'm one of those people. When I'm in certain situations, I need time to think things through. I need to calm down first before I can speak. In fact,
But
most of the time,
I can speak with authority. I know that she's saying this right now,
yeah,
but I also had to be a little bit pushy, and I had to get her out of that a little bit for us to work through something. But this is what I mean. People can say these things, and then you also, the reality is a whole nother matter.
yeah,
So, even when we discuss roles, we talk about pet peeves, we talk about communicating, we talk about views on marriage, we talk about lifestyle, we talk about children. Even after you've talked about it, you still gotta watch.
yeah,
And the reality is, in the moment, on the ground,
yeah.
the truth will be completely different. You
Yeah.
gotta be ready to wiggle with that. But that'll be the end of this video. We'll be back. I think this is working. I like this. Again, it's not a gender thing. It's a people thing. Boy, girl, woman, alien from Mars. People. Two people together. These are the things we need to discuss.
All right.
All right. Next time.